Hello everyone and welcome to our reading lesson. My name is Mrs. Parry and I work with some of you in Year 6. We're going to be working through some reading lessons where I'm going to help you work through reading some SATs papers and answering the questions. So it's going to be by way of an additional literacy session to the lesson that you have with your class teacher in the morning. The purpose is really to help prepare you for your reading SATs so that when you come to them you're able to read fluently and with accuracy and you're able to answer the questions easily. Okay, today we're going to be reading from the text The Park, which is from the 2018 Reading SATs test from the actual test. We're only going to be looking at the one section, and today we're going to be focusing on reading accurately. Accuracy is one of the fluency skills, and it just means reading the words clearly that are on the page, not reading any additional words, and making sure that you are able to read the unfamiliar words as well as the words that you can read easily. It also means that you are reading the punctuation accurately so that you are stopping in the right places so that the reading makes sense. Okay, let's just share the screen and go into the PowerPoint. Hope you find it useful. Okay, so lesson 1, The Park. I hope you have the text in front of you and are able to access that and follow easily. Okay, so our reading skill today is to read words accurately. So how do we do that? When you come across a word that you can't immediately read, so we use our phonics skills to blend the sounds or the phonemes into the word. It's very useful to make sure that you always use your phonic knowledge to work out how to read the word. Don't just guess, because you might guess wrong. So use your phonics as your first strategy to work out how to read the word. Another thing you can do is section the word up into its parts. So you're looking at the first part of the word, the middle parts of the word, and the end of the word. So using your prefix knowledge at the beginning and your suffix knowledge at the end. Another thing you can do within that is looking for smaller words within the longer word, so that there might be a part of the word that you can read and that you recognise, and then you use your phonics around that to see if you can work out how to read the word. Another thing that we need to make sure that you're doing when you're reading is that you only read the words that are there on the page. It's very easy, if you're not following accurately each word, that you add words in that aren't there, or that you miss out words as you're reading. And this can have a real effect on your understanding. So to start with, I want you to make sure that you're reading only the words that are there on the page. And to do this, the easiest way is to follow the text word for word with your finger. Don't worry if this slows you down to start with. It's better that you read accurately before you build up your speed. So don't worry if it seems a little slow to start with. Make sure that you're reading accurately. Okay, let's move on. So before we start reading the text, I'd like you to have a look at the text, The Park, and scan the text very quickly to see if you can find these words. So the first word I want you to find is at the very top of the page. It's very important to remember that you read all of the text. So even the bit that is above the title is very important that you read that as well. It's quite a common mistake on SATs papers that children forget to read the introduction bit that is before the title. It's part of the text. Okay, can you find the word AJ? It's pronounced AJ, and it's a proper noun. It's the name of the person, and it's pronounced AJ, AJ. Okay, can you now scan the text and find the word warden? It says the warden. Okay, so we know it's a noun because it has the in front of it, a determiner, and it's made up of two smaller words. Can you see them? It has the word war and it has the word den. Blend them together and you get the word warden. It's pronounced warden. The next word I want you to scan quickly and find is the word rhubarb. It has a silent H in it. Okay, so you don't pronounce the H. It's rhubarb. And the U is making the oo sound. Okay, so it's rhubarb. Next up, I'd like you to find the word reassure. Reassure. I'm just scanning down the text now, and it's further down the page towards the last main paragraph before the speech. Before it says, "Don't worry, Mum, I'll think of something." Can you find the word reassure? We're looking at that in its different sections in the word. So let's look at which is the prefix, and then we've got assure. Okay, so it's got the word sure at the end. Reassure. So the word is reassure. I'd like you to find the word sour. It's up it's just following on from the word reassure. Can you find the word sour? Okay, so can you see within the word sour, it has the word hour. So that's a smaller word within the word strategy. And then you add your phoneme at the beginning, hour, sour. Moving on to the next page, can you find the word reluctantly? Reluctantly. Let's have a look at the different parts of the word reluctantly. Reluctantly, okay, and the word is reluctantly. Can you find now the word redeveloped? Scan down and see if you can find the word redeveloped. It's actually in the notice board picture. Redeveloped. So you're looking at prefixes and the sort of syllable splits within the word. Redeveloped, redeveloped. Find the word hereby. It's actually also in that notice board. Can you spot it? And the word has two smaller words within the word, here and by, and it's hereby. The last word I want you to find is the word declares. It's also in the notice board picture, and the word is declares. Okay, so you can read those words now, you can say them, so that when we come to them in the text, you'll be able to read them fluently and accurately. So there's AJ, warden, rhubarb, reassure, sour, reluctantly, redeveloped, hereby, and declares. Moving on. Okay, part of reading accurately is also using the punctuation accurately, so that when you come to a full stop, a question mark or an exclamation mark, you make sure that that's the place that you stop. So what I'd like you to do as an activity is, with a felt tip pen or a biro or a highlighter, just draw in very quickly, scan the text, the whole text, just this page to start with, page 1, and mark in the ends of sentence marks clearly, so that when we come to them, when I'm reading the text and later when you're reading the text, you can see those end of sentence marks nice and clearly. Don't forget to include your question marks and your exclamation marks also. Okay, off you go. Okay, now it's my time to do a modelled read. What I'd like you to do is to follow my reading as I'm reading, and it'll be your turn to echo read back that page afterwards. Okay, off we go. You follow with your finger as I read. AJ has just arrived at Joe's house before school. Joe's mother is the warden who looks after the local park. The park. AJ was just about to tuck into his tea and toast, dripping in sour rhubarb jam, when there was a loud clatter from the letterbox as an important-looking brown envelope landed on the mat. Bit early for the post, isn't it? Mum said. Oh, it says special delivery. Mum opened it and unfolded the letter. Joe knew instantly that something was wrong. He could see it on Mum's face. What is it, Mum? Joe asked. Yeah, Mrs. P, what's happened? Jay asked too. It's the park. They've shut it down. For a second, no one said a word. Joe and AJ looked at each other, then back at Joe's mum. Her face was pale, her jaw dropped open. She stared at the letter, her eyes watery and ready to spill over with tears. Shut the park? Joe said furiously. They can't do that. It's the park. Yeah, everyone loves that place, AJ joined in. You boys best get to school or you'll be late, said Mum, her voice all shaky. But what about? Joe started to say. You leave that to me. I don't want you worrying. Mum tried to smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. If she was trying to reassure Joe, it wasn't working. He knew his mum needed that job. How else was she supposed to put sweet and sour spaghetti on the table? Don't worry, Mum. I'll think of something. Joe's mum just nodded, turning away to wipe her eyes. Did you manage to follow? I hope so. And I hope seeing the punctuation, the end of sentence punctuation marks, made it nice and easy for you to see where the stops came. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is stop the video and you have a go at reading that text fluently yourself. Make sure that you read the words accurately and that you stop in the right places. Remember that when you see a comma, there's always more to come in the sentence. There's either things in a list or another clause to come, or there's it's separating speech and who said it. Okay, off you go. Have a go at reading that fluently and accurately. Okay, now looking at page 2 of the text. Again, what I'd like you to do is with a felt tip or biro, draw in or highlight the ends of sentence marks. Off you go. Okay, now that you've got those clearly marked, I'm going to read the text in a modelled read and I'd like you to follow with your finger. Then it'll be your turn to read it fluently and accurately. Okay, follow along with your finger and listen to the reading. Joe and AJ grabbed their bags and reluctantly headed out of the door. Neither of them said anything for what seemed like ages. You all right, man? AJ asked, breaking the silence. I don't know. I can't believe they've closed the park. I mean, why? Joe said in disbelief. Dunno, AJ shrugged. But I know a man who might, he said, pointing down the road. As they turned the corner at the top of Joe's street, they saw a man in the distance. He had a ladder and toolbox and was busy hammering a sign into the park gates. This made Joe's blood boil. If Mum had been there, she would have given him what for. No one hammers anything into anything without her say-so first. Oi, AJ yelled, what are you doing? Joe read the sign, under development. What's going on? Joe asked. Why have you closed the park? The man stopped what he was doing and shrugged. They don't tell me anything. I'm just the bloke who hammers things. Joe read the sign, under development. This notice hereby declares that St George's Park is closed with immediate effect and that from the 1st of July this park will be redeveloped and a new block of luxury flats will be built. The Department of Progress. Underneath the notice was a drawing of a posh building, tall and made of glass. It had pictures of smiling people chatting and drinking coffee outside. Joe and AJ looked through the park gates and could already see diggers moving in, ready to tear the playground apart. This can't be happening, Joe muttered, blinking back the tears. This was the place where he and AJ hung out, where they used to plot how they were going to become mega rich and plan what to do if the world got taken over by zombies. This was the place where Joe and AJ used to play football, or rather where AJ would kick the ball and Joe would try to get out of the way of it before it hit him in the face. And now it was going to be turned into flats. Why wasn't anyone stopping this? Okay, did you manage to follow that okay? Did it make sense to you? Now it's your turn to have a go. So stop the video and have a go at reading the text fluently yourself. Remember to read only the words that are there. Don't add any in, don't leave any out. If you struggle with this, follow the text very carefully with your finger. Remember, it doesn't matter that you're reading slowly to start with. We can speed up once you're reading accurately. All right, off you go. Right, now that you've read, and hopefully you read it fluently and with accuracy, just to check that you read with understanding, what I'd like you to do is, in your books, to show that you've understood, I'd like you to write me a short summary of what happened in the story. Remember, only to include the main events. You'll need to include the characters' names and exactly what happened. Off you go. I look forward to seeing your work. Okay, bye for now. And in the next lesson, we're going to be looking at some of the vocabulary and how to work out the meanings of words that you don't know. And we'll also be looking at a few comprehension questions. Okay, bye.